purification process whereby the seeds of impurity and unwholesomeness are destroyed and the seeds of purity and wholesomeness are increased. This process is known as the transmutation of the support, at Sriyaparorti, referring to the total, drastic change in the nature of the root consciousness, the support of both kinds of seeds. In the course of describing this transmutation, whereby one changes from an ordinary, deluded being into a Buddha, the Cheng Wei Shi Luan undertakes a long, detailed explanation of the nature and functions of 8 kinds of consciousness, with particular emphasis on the 8th consciousness as storer of seeds. This discussion also involves a detailed description of the nature and functions of mental activities, kata, such as craving, faith, sloth, samadhi, etc., divided into categories of good, bad, neither good nor bad, and so on. This cataloging, definition, and analysis of catch mental activity makes the text an excellent source for exact knowledge of Buddhist technical terminology. There is also an important discussion of the 3 natures, Trijubhava, important for the way it clarifies the nature of Buddhist enlightenment as the revelation of the ultimate truth, Paramartha Satya, true suchness, Tathata, and the perfected nature, Paranispanasvabdava, of things through the eternal separation of imagination from those things that occur simply through co-conditioning, referring, of course, to the mental images.
Final sections of the text are devoted to a lengthy and detailed description of the Bodhisattva's traversing of the stages, states, and related accomplishments from the very beginning of the process to the culminating state of Buddhahood. In the course of this description, there are discussions of such matters as the 10 obstacles to be eliminated, the 10 kinds of true suchness to be realized, and other related subjects, making the text a rich source of knowledge of Mahayana doctrine and practice. Although I have translated almost all technical terms in the following pages, I have left a few untranslated, either because the original Sanskrit term always appears in Western works untranslated, such as Buddha, Nirvana, and Bodhisattva, or because I can find no exact translation term that is acceptable in all ways. Also, sometimes the term is untranslated, while being translated elsewhere here, because Xiansang specifies the original Sanskrit term by simply transliterating it rather than translating it, as with mana for manas, elsewhere translated as thought. The following terms are usually untranslated.
1. Dharma. Uncapitalized, it names an experiential datum. It might be translated as object or thing, except that these words refer to such things as people, animals, plants, human artifacts, and the like. These are not dharmas. The Feixiang school has a formal list of 100 dharmas that constitute what it considers to be real experiential data. The list includes matter, ripa, such as eyes, ears, noses, etc., with their corresponding objects, such as shapes with color, sounds, odors, etc. Also included is a long list of psychic factors included under mind and mental activities, such as attention, craving, faith, agitation, etc. too. Dharma, spelled with a capital D, is the Buddhist term for what we would call Buddhism. The Dharma is the teaching of the Buddha, the laws that characterize existence, the truth. 3. Samsara. The opposite of nirvana. The world of suffering, death, and rebirth. I have also translated it as birth and death. 4. Karma. Also translated in the following pages as action, which is the littera, a meaning. It refers always to action that is morally good or bad or neutral. The results of karma are karmaphala, fruits of action.
5. Dharni. Usually refers to an incantation or spell. In this text, it seems to simply mean a support or bearer, meaning a support for enlightened knowing and related wholesome mental states. From the Sanskrit root dhr, meaning to support. 6. Samadhi. Translated in some English works as meditation. However, there can be meditation without samadhi. The term is defined as one-pointedness of mind and refers to a focusing of attention on a single object to the exclusion of all other externa, stimuli. It also refers to the oneness of subject and object in which the subject-object mode of cognition is overcome. 7. Manas. Also translated as thought in the text. It is the name of the 7th consciousness among the 8 recognized by this text.
There are two other translations of the Siecheng Wei Shi Luan in Western languages. The first is a French translation by the eminent scholar Louis de la Vallée-Poussin, published by library orientalist Paul Guthner in 1928 as Vajraptimitrata, La Cité de Haiwansang. It is a very careful translation, copiously annotated and including comments quoted from the Chinese commentary of Keichi. The second is an English translation of Poussin's French translation by Wei Tat, Siecheng Wei Shi Luan, Doctrine of Mere Consciousness, published in Hong Kong in 1973 by the Siecheng Wei Shi Luan Publication Committee. It is a faithful rendering of the Poussin translation. Both translations leave much to be desired in that they leave almost all Sanskrit technical terms untranslated. Finally, there is a very useful commentary on the text by Keichi, the Siecheng Wei Shi Luan Shuchi, Teisho No. 1830. It is indispensable for an understanding of many very difficult passages in the text, and I have benefited greatly from both it and Poussin's notes. Francis H. Cook, Riverside, California, April 1991.
Introduction. Homage. I render homage to those purified wholly or in part through consciousness only. I shall explain what has been said for the benefit and joy of beings. Purpose of this book. Vasubandhu composed the Treatise, 30 verses for those who are deluded about or deny the two kinds of emptiness, Sinyata, so that they may arouse correct understanding. Correct understanding means eliminating the two heavy obstacles at Varana. These two obstacles arise as a result of attachment to a self and dharmas. By realizing the two kinds of emptiness, the obstacles are removed, and by removing the two obstacles, one obtains two excellent results. By eliminating the obstacle of passions that lead to rebirth, one realizes true liberation. By eliminating the obstacle to the knowable that hinders true understanding, one obtains great awakening, maha-bodhi.
Also, Vasubandhu composed the treatise to instruct those who are attached to a self and dharmas and who are deluded about consciousness only, to permit them to reach the two kinds of emptiness and really comprehend the principle of consciousness only. Some are deluded about this principle of consciousness only. Some grasp the external world as not non-existent, like consciousness. Some grasp internal consciousness as non-existent, like the external world. Some grasp the various kinds of consciousness as being the same in substance but different in characteristics. Some believe that there are no separate mental functions apart from the mind. This treatise was composed in order to refute these views and to allow people to acquire a correct understanding of the profound and wonderful principle of consciousness only, Vijnapti Matrata.